What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck, real Cowboys fan, stand up. So, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the Dallas Cowboys have cut down to their final 53 roster. And, as we said last night, right, it's not going to be fully set in stone, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the Cowboys are thinking. So, we have a few cuts to talk about, but I want to say this, Cowboys Nation. You got to give yourself a warm round of applause because last night we did an incredible job. We did an incredible job last night. So, if you didn't catch that live show, we pretty much went through our expectations and our prediction for the final 53 roster. And to kind of give you a grade, we were 50 out of 53. Some of y'all were 51 out of 53, but we were kind of 50 out of 53, right? So let's go ahead and talk about the offense. Dak Prescott, he made the roster. Congrats to Dak, right? Now, here's the conversation. Cooper Rush was cut. Will Greer was cut, right? So as of right now, the Dallas Cowboys only have one quarterback on their roster. Now, I think that will change tomorrow. I do believe Cooper Rush will be the guy that's added back on. But like we said last night, they're going to establish their final 53, put a few players on the IR to create space, and bring some of these players back, which you'll see here shortly as we talk about a few more positions. Ezekiel Elliott made the roster. Tony Pollard made the roster. And Rico Dowdle. Last night, we did have my guy Malik Davis being cut, unfortunately. I like Malik Davis. We all agreed. I think he brings a little bit more to the offense than Rico does, but it seems like the Cowboys went with the guy that they know. Now, wide receivers, this was the conversation last night because it's like, bro, how many of these wide receivers are we going to keep, Tuck? But you got to understand, when you're in the position like the Cowboys are in currently, we just throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks. You got to keep all your darts, man. So that's what the Cowboys decided to do, which I'm happy they did. Now, I didn't know if Dennis Houston was going to make it. I wanted him to because he's been the most consistent wide receiver throughout camp. But sometimes the Cowboys get a little stupid, right? So CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, who possibly won't be on IR or PUP, Noah Brown, Jalen Tolbert, James Washington, Dennis Houston, Simi Fioco, and Kevontae Turpin. So you got some guys out there in Turpin and Houston who were undrafted free agents but earned a roster spot on the final 53. So salute to them. Last night we spoke about the tight end position. Sean McKeon was the man out, which we kind of predicted because he just didn't show enough in camp. So you have Dalton Schultz and then two young studs in Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, which a lot of people are excited about. When it comes to the offensive line, pretty much predictable. You'll have Tyron Smith, who will possibly be moved on to IR. Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, Matt Farniok, Josh Ball, and Matt Waletzko. I know a lot of people were talking about Avante Collins. Looks like he didn't make it. I'm not sure if he is going to be a cut and re-sign guy. He might possibly, but there's been conversation about adding some depth on the offensive line. I know a lot of people are talking about Alex Leatherwood. Now he's been released from the Raiders. It's a situation that we'll have to look into, right? I know a lot of people saying, Tuck, you suck, he's this, is that. Yeah. Hey, he's a big physical body, and there's no way that you can convince me that Leatherwood is not better right now than Josh Ball. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, man. When you're kind of desperate, you can't be picky, right? And so I feel like if you're able to add Leatherwood or add another veteran guy, you definitely can move on from Josh Ball. But it seems like the Cowboys' ego is not going to move on. Let's go ahead and get over to the defensive side of the ball, right? So some guys, special teams wise, you have Brian Anger, the punter. He's on the roster, but they cut Brett Maher and they cut our long snapper, Jake McQuaid. So they are listed as guys that we cut, but more than likely, possibly tomorrow, they'll be re-signed and added back to the roster once they clear space. So a lot of people are like, Tuck, what is going on? We cut Brett Maher's only kicker. Like, that's why you had to hit the subscribe button, because we educate on this channel and make sure people are fully aware. Defensive ends, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, Chauncey Golston, Sam Williams, Terrell Basham, and Dante Fowler. We hit that perfectly. Defensive tackle, we had conversations last night. So you had Osa Digizua, Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, Quentin Bohanna. We had a conversation about John Ridgeway. Me personally, they could have maybe tried to sneak him through the waivers. I'm not sure how they were feeling, but I feel like the guy they did move on from, Carlos Watkins, has outplayed Ridgeway. But I wanted to make sure everyone was aware, right? I feel like Quentin Bohanna has earned that job. Ridgeway is on the roster as of right now. For now, he might be an IR stash guy they might try to move space for and maybe bring Carlos Watkins back because they did just sign him. But it looks like as of right now, John Ridgeway got the nod over Carlos Watkins. Linebackers, Micah Parsons, of course, the Lion, man. Salute to the Lion. And then you also got Leighton Vander Esch. You know, he made the roster. Jabril Cox, Anthony Barr, Devin Harper is on the roster. Like I said, if he was not on the roster, I was ready to riot. And they also kept Luke Gifford because I was like, listen, y'all, if they do not add Harper to the final 53 and they plug in Gifford, I'm going to lose it. It looks like they kept them both, so I'm perfectly okay with that. Like I said, Gifford is a special teams guy, and he's kind of a guy who has a sponsorship with the Cowboys Trust. Cornerbacks, Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Deron Bland, he made it. CJ Goodwin, he was cut. But once again, he could be a guy, he will be a guy that the Cowboys will bring back on the roster once they create space. You had Kelvin Joseph. There's a lot of conversations was he's going to make the roster. He did. Now you can look to possibly see if they might IR Kelvin Joseph, kind of stash him away for a little bit and free up some more space, or Nashawn Wright as well. But as of right now, they're on the roster. In the safety position, we're deep at safety, man. We're deep at safety. Jaron Curse, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, FAMU, my guy, and Izzy McQuamu, all on the Dallas Cowboys roster. So that's it, man. So tell me how you guys feel about the roster. You know, I'm okay because it's kind of what we expected. There could be some possibilities that we make some more moves here and there. But as of right now, this will probably be the team that the Dallas Cowboys go into the season with. And it is take it or leave it. But speaking of the roster, Jerry Jones had some very interesting comments today on 105 through the Fan. And he had said, you know, last year the Cowboys kind of went all in. So that's the reason why our roster kind of looks the way that it does right now. Go ahead and take a listen to this.
Well, let me be real candid here. We built our roster up, but you might even say at a crescendo level last year. And we had a pretty good hand last year. And, of course, unfortunately, we got Dak limited there fairly early. And then Zeke got a little limited. But we put a lot on the table last year. And there was no question relative to the investment in the roster that you were going to have to make some adjustments after last year in this year. We could see that coming. And so part of what you're seeing is the adjustment for having shoved it out there last year. So let me be real candid here.
So yeah, man, Jerry's being Jerry, talking on the radio show, but he said that the Cowboys, they went all in last year. Now, what does all in really mean? Because last year wasn't all in. They was cheap last year. They didn't make a lot of moves last year as well. They got lucky last year is what happens. But it seems like that's the sentiments from Jerry Jones, which kind of lets you know, hey, Cowboys fans, if you're kind of concerned about the roster, well, Jerry Jones is kind of saying himself they had to deplete the roster a little bit. So I know it's been the conversation, is this year's roster constructed better than last year's roster? I don't think it is. But Jerry Jones doesn't agree either. He doesn't think this roster is like last year's roster because they had to tear things down. It is what it is. Like I said, we are 9 days away from Tampa. It is what it is. We're going to rock and roll with the team that we got. We're going to be ready. I'm going to be live in the building, man. I cannot wait for Sunday Night Football versus Tampa Bay Bucks, man. So it's your boy, Jay Tuck. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Hit that like button, comment below, because as you see, as a community, CFO gang, we know what we're talking about. Peace.